This POV, she tried to ruin me, but you can't destroy someone who's already free. People love a villain. They love someone to point at and say, that's the homewrecker. That's the one who crossed the line. And in her story, that's me, the cold therapist, the manipulative woman who stole her husband. But here's what I've learned. People only see what they're comfortable seeing. And some truths are just too inconvenient to sit with. Yes, I was her therapist. And yes, I fell in love with her husband. But let me tell you how it really happened. Daniel and I started talking in joint sessions. He was guarded at first. Most men are. But I could feel something beneath the surface. A quiet desperation to be understood. He always deferred to her, apologized too quickly, called himself the problem even when he wasn't. In those first few weeks, I believed in the work. I thought, I can help them find each other again. But over time, a pattern emerged. She wasn't interested in growth. She wanted confirmation. She wanted me to say, yes, you're right, he's emotionally unavailable. He's the one who needs to change. But therapy doesn't work like that, and healing doesn't come from blame. After 6 sessions, she told me they were taking a break. I respected that. I closed the file. I moved on. A week later, Daniel emailed me directly. He wanted to book a solo appointment. Technically, it was allowed. There are guidelines for dual relationships, but he was no longer part of an active couple. I agreed, cautiously. In that first solo session, he cried. Not dramatic tears, not performative, just this slow, quiet collapse of a man who'd been pretending he was okay for far too long. He said, I feel like I was performing my entire marriage, like I had to be the man she wanted, not the man I am. He talked about feeling unseen, unworthy, controlled, dismissed. He never blamed her directly. He blamed himself. That was what broke my heart, because I saw him, fully, and I knew he hadn't felt seen in years. It was 4 sessions in when I noticed it. The way I leaned in when he spoke, the way he watched me, like I was the only safe space he had. And then it happened. At the end of a session, he looked at me and said, I think I'm falling in love with you. I know that's wrong, but I had to say it. I didn't respond. I ended the session immediately. I referred him to another provider the next day. I did what the textbooks tell you to do. But he didn't go. He showed up again, 2 weeks later, waiting outside my building. He had a note in his hand, said he'd read it once, and then leave. It said, I'm not asking for your license. I'm asking for your honesty. You saw me when no one else did. If there's even a chance you felt something too, I'll wait. If not, I'll disappear. I didn't respond that day. But I didn't report him either. Because deep down, I knew. I felt it too. We didn't sleep together immediately. We didn't start dating right away. I closed my private practice, voluntarily, removed myself from the clinic, took myself off directories, filed paperwork stating I was no longer practicing. Then we tried. Scared, guilty, hopeful. And for the first time in years, maybe ever, I was in love with someone I didn't have to fix. But she couldn't leave it alone. She sent files, screenshots, anonymous reports. She painted me as a predator, a monster, a fraud. She weaponized her pain, and I can't even blame her for that. I broke something sacred. I crossed a line, not in law, but in perception. The board didn't care about timelines or context. They cared about headlines. So I lost my license. But what she didn't know, I was done with therapy anyway. Helping people who didn't want help had drained me. I wanted to tell stories, build something different. So we did. Daniel and I moved. We started small, an anonymous blog, then videos, then podcasts. We told our truth, not to justify, but to heal. And somehow, it resonated. People said, you're not perfect, but you're honest. This reminds me of my own divorce. You made me feel less alone. We found a new purpose. I wrote a book. He handled our website. We hosted online sessions, not as professionals, but as survivors. And then, our daughter came. You see, she thought she ruined me, but you can't ruin someone who has already accepted their destruction. You can't blackmail someone who owns the scandal. She's still out there, probably telling her side. That's fine. We're both right. We're both wrong. But only one of us is free. Final line, voice cool, serene, dangerous. She took everything but him, and he was all I ever wanted anyway.